Hello, folks.
Hi there.
So this is episode 59 of Würfel Cast, and it's a little bit special one because this is ooh my my voice is doubled. I have a
Apparently.
doppelganger, apparently. Yeah. But anyway, so this is my top 100 games of all time, 2022 edition. We're gonna go through numbers 100 through 76, so 25 games per episode. We we might stretch it out, like do it faster, not every other week. We'll see
What?
about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
in case people want to know what's my number one and two and three and four and five. Yeah, you know the drill. Uh, but just overly so. Uh, First of all, for my top 100 list, I use Pub Meeple ranking engine, like most do. I think so. And I didn't look at my list from previous year, and I just, I went with my gut. I just imported the games into this ranking engine, just did the comparisons, whatever, and whatever came out is my top 100, and it might be very different
Okay.
from the one I had before. Though, I I think that the games I do love, uh, my top maybe 20 is not a huge surprise, most likely. It's just I haven't found that many games during last year that would, maybe a few, but it's not like there are games that would skyrocket into my top 10 that easily anymore because there are some nostalgic reasons, whatever else. And, it just, this safe spot when you pull out the game that you really love instead of just learning another game that can be okay, can be bad, you know.
Sure.
Also, my collection is much smaller than 100 games, so I right now I have about 60 maybe. I try to keep it up to 50, so uh, my strict rules, and it doesn't it correlates at some point because I have my favorite games in my collection. But on the other hand, my collection is for a different reason. It's like a checklist. I like, for example, I need to have this and that game, this and that genre or theme or whatever, or I keep this game for a sake of playing it with a certain group. And it might not be in my top 100, but I do really enjoy this game, but with that particular group. So there are those small intricacies how I've done this all, and I don't know. It's just some games might be on my top 100 for nostalgic reasons because I haven't played them in a while, but I remember really enjoying them and remember them being great. So there are games that are in my collection are not in the top 100, and there are games that are in the top 100 that are not in my collection for whatever reason. And I might I might talk about that reason, etc. So yeah,
Okay.
just let's just start. I just went with my
That's a
gut one.
great idea. I'm ready.
Yeah. So let me just give me a tiny moment. I will first of all do this. There's the new thing. Okay, let me share the screen. And let's go to Board Game Geek. And here we are. And you can see Ophir, Bemused, Pay Dirt. I remember Pay Dirt as well. Hand of
Okay.
Sea. Hand of Sea. Okay, that's weird. But without further ado, there will now not be any fancy video numbers going on.
Oh.
I don't. Yeah, I do. I only have this 10 through 1. I don't have the 100 one because I have to upload 100 videos here. Tiny videos. Anyway, my number 100 is a game that is a part of a series that has quite a few games, and it's basically their niche. That the company's niche is to produce such games for a low cost, but a really good production value. And
Mm-hmm.
some of them are great, and some of them could have been bigger boxes. So it's from the Tiny Epic series, and this
Oh.
is, I think, eventually. So I had this debate in my mind. So there was Tiny Big Dinosaurs as well, but I felt like Tiny Epic Galaxies is something I would put on my top 100. Uh, it proved to be a more stable experience for me.
Sure.
And Tiny Epic Galaxies is all about, you have those dice, you roll the dice, you go up the different tracks, you get the new planets, you can colonize them. Uh, there's not much going on, uh, but the whole experience in this tiny box is really cool. You get some tiny abilities, you get those cards, go up the tracks. I just
Yeah.
like this experience. There's not much I want to say about this game. So
Good. It's a game I've played many a time. It's definitely one of the stronger of the series. I think this is my second favorite in that series, but this is good and it has a good expansion.
mm,
It could be in a bigger box, but
yes.
other than that, there's little to complain about.
What's your other one? What's your most favorite one?
I like Quest best of the series.
Okay, I have not played that many of them. So,
Mm,
and I at some
No.
point I was like, okay, um, uh,
It definitely has some highs and lows,
yeah.
that series.
Anyway, that was my number 100, Tiny Epic Galaxies. Now let's go to number 99, which is a two-player game, also dice rolling. And it seems like for my dice rolling games, I do like smaller ones more than bigger ones because it's not that much time investment, and if dice are not on my side, I don't feel as beaten as with some bigger games. And my number
Okay.
99 is Kero. And
Ah,
Kero was in my list. I think was on my list before, but I was interested in this game because it has the Piero art, and it has these really cool trucks. And so these trucks are basically sand timers, and while you roll the dice, so this is kind of your like fuel. And while you roll the dice, you have this upside, and then you can bust if you run out of fuel, or it's like a little bit of that push your luck, and you need to get the certain symbols on the dice that you want to progress in the story. So this is I think the most exciting part. But basically, eventually, you will go to different spots. You will get new cards, resources, grab locations to score points. Your usual stuff. Try to get better dice and upgrade yourself with some special abilities, one-time uses, etc. Yeah, that's it. That's a very dually two-player game, and that's where you feel invested when you like if your opponent rolls the dice and you have this truck upside down, you're constantly looking at this truck like, does he run out of fuel or not? It's like it's exciting. It's exciting for the opponent, though it's another player's turn. So yeah, Caro number 99, an exciting small two-player game, though it doesn't look so small, but it is small in the sense of mechanisms.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I played this one with you and then, kind of never thought about it again. I did not
Mhm.
hate the experience, but it certainly was not particularly memorable, other than those sand timer trucks, which are pretty nice.
Yes, I would like to see
Mm,
them somewhere else as well. All
Okay.
right. My number 98 is another smaller game. So it seems like all the bigger games are coming up later in future episodes. And my smaller games are down here. It's not like I don't like smaller games. It's just many of them don't give me that great experience anymore. But
Okay.
still, cool games. Number 98 is King Domino. And
Ooh.
King Yeah, King Domino is extremely simple, and there was that Age of Giants, whatever thing. I might want to try that one.
Oh, the expansion?
The expansion, yeah. Is it
Yeah.
coming up
It's
or
okay.
not? I haven't played it for a while, so this game.
Oh,
So,
I mean,
but
The expansion came out a long time ago.
Yeah, but I
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Well,
didn't get to it. Anyway, but this is domino. Yeah, you're building up. You're trying to match the colors, the landscapes, etc. It's very simple. And I always like to create this kind of a symmetry around my castle, and this kind of a bidding mechanism on the tiles is really cool, like reverse one kind of a. And yeah, just a one of the simplest games I've played. Very
sure.
easy to understand. It just so much fun to create this landscape. That's why I like it.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable game. I like it's. There are three base games now. There's the Queen Domino set, and then some like first Explorers version, but they're all
Hmm.
largely the same. It's not really evolved much. They're very easy to get into. I like this game.
Okay, so let's get to number 97. Number 97 is a party game that I got not so recently, but maybe at the end of the last year, and I got it in Estonian native language. But you can just create your own do-it-yourself kind of a um, box. And this is number 97, just one.
Ah,
It's basically it's alias, it's whatever else, all of these word games, and in just one, it's cooperative, and one person has this word that he doesn't know, and we need to
mm-hmm,
give them a hint, and whatever that you can see here. So basically, bong. Okay. So anyway, they choose a number. They say number 3. It's lawyer. So everybody else needs to hint towards the lawyer with a one word clue. And there's some tiny rules what you can or cannot do, but I experienced that with different groups. You can house rule this as much as you want. You can now, like, I can allow this kind of words. I will not allow these kinds of things, and you can
sure.
use symbols, etc. Whatever suits you the best. It's a loosey game on that rule side. uh, and it's just fun because you're trying to so the other teammates are trying to write down the word, but if more than one player writes down the same word or same whatever family of the word, they are all erased, and that person who needs to guess the word will get less of the clues. And then they're like,
Right.
okay, so maybe it's Olympics, and somebody says sports, another person says sports, and uh, the third person says medal, and then like two sports are gone, and then only one medal is like, okay, so medal. What should I get
Sure.
for a word? Nothing, but it's just this simple fun. It's an experience more than a game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's an enjoyable game. It's one that works well with just about any group. I've done, it's gone over very
Sure.
well with pretty much everyone I know. Always an enjoyable experience.
And I would say it's language independent because even if you have an English copy or Estonian copy, no, look, even if like you don't need these cards, there are so many apps on the phone that generate words.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that's very language dependent. Everybody does have to speak the
Yeah, yeah.
same
I mean,
language.
like in a sense, it's
Um,
language. Like you don't, because you don't have to use the cards. You can use the cards only for the count of the points, and just use app.
sure.
I've used that because, and I've used alias cards because we had this. We played it in Russian, in Estonian, in English. So, and I have Estonian copy, so I just used used other means. Everything else is
Okay.
there. Anyway, let's get to the number 96. My number 96 is a zombie game. And yet again, dice. Yet again, very simple. And that's why I don't care about so much randomness it has. Number 96, it is Hit Z Road. And it's a game that it breaks my heart that this game has not been. It it has some problems and it needs expansions. It just need more. It needs more content. I think if it would have more content, it would be much better of a game and much we'll say more popular of a game
Mm-hmm.
because it felt short because there wasn't enough in the box. Just maybe an extra mechanisms, something small extra, or the expansion, or the modules that you could go and do and put in. But overall, you just you have your survivors and you bid with your resources on those cards. Whoever it's a competitive game. Whoever bids more will get to choose first, and of course they choose the other like those paths of cards, and they choose the best path. But the more resources you spend, the less resources you have later on in the game, and
Mm-hmm.
the further the cards go, the further the paths go, they become more dangerous. Almost no resources and a lot of zombies, and you need to fight them with the dice. And we've had these moments of because it's such a simple game. We had these moments of I'm last down to that last person. Will I survive? Will I kill the zombies? And there was like um, she had one person left and four zombies, and she killed them all. That one person. She was lucky, but it was a true and cool experience. Everybody was cheering for her. It's like you need to survive. Like it's a competitive game. We don't care if you survive. All of us are kind of winners, in this zombie world. So yeah,
Okay.
and it looks great. It looks great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's very nicely designed, right? There was a lot of love put into it by somebody. I don't know that the gameplay was all that memorable for me. I did play it, but I think only one time. It's not one that I hate, but it's not one that I think it's kind of hard to find now, right? It didn't do particularly well, and I don't know why, but I don't know that I would go out of my way to hunt it down.
Okay, yeah, get it. So let's get to number 95. My number 95 is another Martin Wallace game, which also has. So I feel like he's into that simple but deep uh, immersion into the game. Simple in the sense of rules. Even Brass doesn't have that many rules. Brass is not a hard game to learn. Brass is hard game to master. It's just it's very brain burning. For example, but I'm not talking here about Brass. I'm talking about Wildlands, number 95. Yeah, you didn't like that much. I enjoyed this game. No, look, so far of the games that I played of Martin Wallace's games, they feel immersive. They feel something bigger, but mechanically, and rules wise, they're not hard to learn. They're very simple. And this game is all about, you have your team of whatever whatever race you are, orcs or goblins or humans or elves. I don't know. They're a little bit different fantasy than the usual one. And you have this multi-use cards going on in this game, which I enjoyed. And then you need to collect crystals or wipe out the other player's team. And
Hmm.
it's as simple as you can get, and it has some this line of sight going on, multi-use cards. The only so prototype. The only problem it had is what people hate about this game is this interruption mechanism, which can go wrong, but it can go right as well. So it depends on the taste. But it has great looks, and since it had so many expansions, I didn't keep it in my collection because I just couldn't find it. It couldn't get to the table. It can be hit or miss. For me, it
Hmm.
was more of a hit, and I like the beginning where you choose your positions. It's very strategic, in my opinion, because you choose positions for yourself and kind of positions of the crystals for the others, and it's you know it's almost like the game is already beginning with this setup. It's a crucial part of the game.
I mean, most
Yeah, but
games setup is pretty crucial.
but I mean here the game begins with that setup already because
I
this
see.
is kind of a part of the game already, not the setup. Uh, kind of. Anyway,
Okay.
very simple to learn, multi-use cards, cool looking game. Check it out. You might like it. Some people, or it might be a miss for you. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been tempted to give this one another try, but it was a total miss for me. I mean, I've already talked about it. I dislike the fact that the kind of the spaces are ordered on a random system, so it's very
Oh,
difficult just even to find where things are on the board. I
hmm
dislike that the characters do not look anything like their cards, and so you're constantly wondering, well, is this
mm,
this character or is this character? Not knowing where your pieces are on the board. I wasn't a huge fan of the interruptions. It was like, oh, okay, fine. And I don't know. I did not find a whole lot that I liked about this game, which
hmm
surprised me because it looked like the kind of game I was going to love.
Yeah, yeah. Production wise, there are some questionable choices here, but
And
I
they
hear.
actively interfered with my enjoyment of the game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I heard the expansions really add to the game a lot, so maybe some point we'll try it with the expansions and might enjoy it more, despite some issues. So let's get to number 94. My number 94 is a very different game. Let's say it kind of has cool components, but graphically, it's black and white, and it's Escape from the Aliens in the Outer Space. It's not completely black and white. There are some blue and
There's
red.
some blue
Yeah,
and
and
some
red,
green.
green, yes. But I mean, you, let me just show you the pictures. So this is a, I would say, more of a psychological game. It's more of an experience yet again, and you can see the minimalistic box. And what you have here is you have these sheets, and there's some blind spots and some spots that can get you uh, discovered, and some spots that you can hide in. But over basically you are following some kind of a path, taking cards. You can grab an alarm, or you can grab a card that is silent on sectors or equipment, etc. It's all dry razor, and there are two teams. So basically, there's aliens and there's humans. Humans try to escape to the escape pods. They can be different at different mission locations. There are several of these sheets, like to a different spaceship layout, let's say. And yeah, it's very simple. It's very quiet game because everybody's looking in at their sheet, but you're trying to figure out. So at some point, if somebody makes a noise somewhere, you're like, okay, so they are somewhere there. And do you trust each other or not? So it's in teams, but you don't know who's on your team, who's not. And aliens can kill other aliens by mistake. It happens. I'm sorry. I was blind. Did. Um, anyway, and you have kind of the roles as well, which has some special abilities. But if you use it, you basically reveal yourself. So should you use it or not? When? Where? It's just one time use kind of a thing. Uh, yeah, I
Yeah.
enjoyed the experience of it, but it's an experience more than a. It's a. I cannot call it a game. It's something between game and experience. Yeah.
Okay. I enjoy the experience of this game. The end game's a little messy. It's, sort of, it kind of feels like someone said, we're going to design the game and then we'll tag on some sort of way to win. That part, it sort of falls apart just a little bit toward the end, especially if you play with a group that's larger and then some people
Hmm.
turn into aliens at some point, and then it's not
Actually, yeah.
particularly clear, how and which group is winning. That
hmm
part is a little weak. The actual game itself is very fun. So,
Okay. Yeah. So, my number 93 is a more peaceful game, a much more colorful game. Almost any game could be more colorful than Escape from the Aliens, which could be on my list, but it's Garden Dice.
hmm,
Garden Dice also is, it's not, so first of all, you need to play with the card expansion because it has this cool abilities. They are great. I love them. It's like it needs to be there. There's just some special abilities. But overall, what this game is, you are planting those different seeds of vegetables. You want to, you know, get the chain reactions going, because if you water one thing and it waters another thing which is lower in price, or what, like in the strength, whatever, and by accident you can water the other players' crops and do the favor for them. It has this dice system where you roll your dice, and that's where you can, intersection of two dice is just where you can plant and do whatever else. It's different actions you can do. I enjoyed the whole experience. It's a little bit on the long side for me for such a game, uh, but it's a fun experience. There's those different take that elements as well, with the rabbits, and then the bird, that can eat the seeds, etc. But it's such a colorful and simple game. I feel like people need to try it. The people who love like a little bit of take that, not too much, but also love this kind of a building up and chain reactions going on in the game.
Yeah, I remember enjoying the game. I haven't thought about it other than when you've mentioned it in years. I don't know that it. I don't know how well it holds up. I can't say because I haven't tried it in. Oh, I mean, this is at least 10 years old now.
Um, should be
So,
now.
yeah.
Let me see. 12, yeah. It
Yeah,
is.
so
It
there
is.
we go. 10 years old. But
Yeah, but
I do remember playing it, and I remember several things about it. So,
yeah, there's this. I really like the player sheets, as you can see here. A lot going on, but I mean, like, you don't have to remember it all from rules learning. You can just take a look at this and then, oh, okay, so this does that. And you can see you roll
mm-hmm,
4 dice, you spend dice, and you pass the dice. That's it. It's
mm-hmm,
so simple. And this chain reaction things and critters, etc.
sure.
It's well designed rules wise and the component wise game.
Hmm.
All right, so my number 92 is another cooperative game with not another cooperative game, but it's a cooperative game with a trader element. But the trader
Oh,
element is it's there, it's not a huge deal, and that's Obscurio.
hmm.
Because Obscurio is all about, you're in this library, so the trader tries to, mess up the cards, in a sense that tries to, pick the different. They are like these rounded cards, and they try to pick the cards that are similar to one another, in a sense of the bookkeeper who gives out the clues, and then people need to guess, and then the more time you spend, the more traps you're gonna get, and these traps are some really cool things. I like traps, by the way. And traps are things like, for example, now you need to look at the picture, the clues through the layer of some white stuff, or what the layer of the red, or you need to, or the doors come up randomly one at a time, and then you need to decide if it's a right or a wrong door right away, instead of looking at all six and then decide.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's just so simple, so cool. I like it. It's like a faster version, it's in a sense a faster version of Mysterium,
Mm-hmm.
because there's that time, real time going on. But it's not
Yeah.
real time in the sense of everything is real time. It's just when you decide on the doors, you need to decide quicker if you want to, you know, or if
Sure.
you are slow, then you're just gonna get more traps, more things going on.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, if you get traps, they are fun. This is all fun.
That's what makes the game stand out, actually, is those sort of trap moments, because they make it certain rounds more challenging for a particular reason. I agree with you. The trader itself, it kind of feels tacked on. It feels like
Yeah,
you could probably play the game without that and still, give yourself some of these traps and sort of have the same enjoyable experience. The trader itself kind of feels like just
yeah,
something extra,
it
a
could be
way to
totally
make that happen.
cooperative, but the thing is, I cannot really think of what could have they done in the sense of if like the trader is the one who chooses the cards,
Right.
and tries to make them as similar as possible to the clue, different ones, so people get
Yeah.
confused. So what could have been a replacement for the trader? I don't know
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, a cool game.
yeah. It's enjoyable.
All right, number 91 is a deck building game. I think it's my first deck building game here. Should be, yes. And the one I think we did a Blender episode on that game as well. And I was surprised by how much I enjoy it. That's Paperback.
Okay.
I am not the biggest, it's a word creating thing, and it might not be for everyone. It's so if it's in English, for example, and people struggle to create words,
Yeah.
especially if it's not their native language, we were fine with that. So I know the language quite well in order to play this game. But overly, what it is basically your cards. The deck building is basically the letter building. You're trying to get more letters in, so you can try to create better words, bigger words, longer words, let's say. And some of the cards have some special abilities. So if you put this card in there, so it gives you another extra card, whatever else, and then you eventually trying to get to a certain amount of kind of money or things in order to buy the covers, which will give you straight points at the end of the game. So yeah, it's simple. I haven't played the cooperative variants of that, but in a sense, it was a weird kind of a at that moment when I played this game, it was a weird collaboration between two kind of mechanisms: the word building and deck building. And I haven't seen that before. I was like, okay, but I was hesitant to try because I'm not into like Scrabble and type things, word building. No, I don't care about that. But this one was. So yeah,
I enjoy paperback. I think I like hardback a little better, but
didn't
it's a
try it. Yeah.
fine game. It's a great, if people like word games, this is a good one to get them into
Hmm.
because you have a little bit more control over what ends up in your deck. It's also there's a lot of wild letters that are out there, so you're
Oh,
able
true.
to make a word. I mean, they're not worth very much, but it's very simple. It's a good combination of a word game with deck building. And I know a lot of people who may not be interested in the more fantasy themed deck building games who would be interested in this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, can see
I
that.
do wish the box were a little different. This is another company that tries to get everything in the same size box.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
True. There's another
but
game
oh
that
well.
might come up on my list. Well, talk
Yeah.
about that. Mhm.
This is a good one.
So let's get to number 90. So my number 90 is another deck building game, and one I really want to get back into my collection, but only if I will be able to get all the expansions, because without the expansions is not it's not worth it. So, and I right now I think I had it before with two expansions. That's why it's on my list, and this is Eminent Domain. The problem
Okay.
with Eminent Domain and its expansions is that the company is out of business, and somebody needs to
Mm-hmm.
pick this game up and reprint all the expansions, especially the newer ones, which I didn't play, and I want to get those. I mean, it's such an enjoyable game. So because it's a role selection with the follow mechanism, the same as the Tiny Big Galaxies I didn't mention has this follow mechanism, and a few other games might be in the future. But so if you can see here, maybe so this game it's a deck building game where you choose a role and then you do that particular stuff and you get more and more and more of these cards, but you're trying to balance out. So you will not get all the colonize cards. Then what you're gonna do with these? And you're trying to get the more most points. Like with most of these simple deck building games, eventually you get the point cards, and then at the end of the game you see what you have collected into your deck, etc. But here you can colonize or you go with a warfare to the different planets. With a survey, you find those planets. With the produce, um, the the research is those special cards. The produce is the resources, but the resources become more interesting with the expansions. Also, these different shaped ships are useless for its like the size of it is it doesn't do anything. You need to get
Right.
another expansion for that. So that's why I say like the the base game is so stripped out of all of the extra fun that you need to get expansions in order to enjoy the whole thing. So but yeah,
Hmm.
everybody can. So you lead the role. People can follow up, but they will have less cards in during their action phase. So I just enjoy this kind of a plain experience of that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I have an off and on relationship with this game. There are some points about it that I think are great, and there are some things that I really just don't like. The title, for example, and also it's like
Hmm.
some of the cards that you're trying to get, the print is much too small on them, which means that you're constantly having to say, well, what does this one do? What does this one do? That's like I think these technology cards and some of the planets. I don't hate the game. I just don't know when I'll go back to it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll only go back to it if I will be able to get it with all the different expansions. And so far, I
Well,
looked at it. I could get this base game, and but most of the expansions are gone.
hmm,
Anyway, and sorry, I didn't put the name tag of this game before, but
oh,
just anyway, it's just one.
I see it.
Anyway, yeah, now I put it. Another, so my number 89 is another TMG game, which we did a Blender episode on. Uh, if you remember it, the game is called Scoville.
Hmm.
And Scoville is about growing those different peppers and then mixing them together in order to develop even better peppers and then just sell them for whatever is out there for the recipes and some simpler cards that you can uh, do to get points. The market mechanism, the this selling the peppers or giving them for the recipe is very simple. You just collect these peppers, give them out, get your points, done. But the main thing about the game is those peppers, different peppers, and these people who collect them. And so you have a certain amount of steps you can do, and when you do those steps, you move through those different peppers. And if you move through two peppers next to each other, you collect a new breed of that pepper. And I don't know if it has this kind of a uh, cheat sheet or not, but eventually, yeah, there's that kind of oh, here, yeah, that one here. It shows cubes right now, but whatever. It's like a yellow and a green pepper do a brown pepper. I don't know what's the brown pepper, or you can do the ghost peppers, whatever else. So they become even more obscure. So trying to plant the peppers in right way, in right order, and then go through them in the right order to collect the better ones. Mm, what this
Yeah.
game suffers from is it might be a little bit too simple, and it's enjoyable. And
Hmm.
there's the labs expansion where you can breed your own kind of a small lab of peppers, but basically the same. It's just mini game inside the bigger game. It just you do everything is almost the same. So this game should have had a bigger expansion, maybe expand the marketplace or how or what you're gonna do with the peppers, or you know
Yeah.
more of something you can do with these peppers than just take the recipes and points.
Yeah. It does feel like something is missing. I enjoy the game, right? But it feels like it's a lot more about blocking people than it is about trying
Hmm.
to develop the peppers. and because it can be very, it has some fairly strict movement rules,
Hmm.
and it's very
Yeah, it is.
possible to sort of, you know, win the game by denying people certain things, more than by collecting sets and making the recipes. I like it. I don't know. It's kind of fallen down a little bit for me in recent years, but I still do enjoy it.
You know, the thing about the restrictions and blockings and things, there are also those special tiles that you can use. They're basically points. If you
Mm-hmm.
you say I don't care about the points and I want to do something special or do the U-turn, whatever things, like you can, like if you move down the path, you can just move back down the same path almost. This U-turn thing, I don't remember exactly what it is, but you can
Yeah,
use them. These are the ones. Yeah, I think no.
yeah. I mean, you
Hmm.
do have those, but for special powers, they're not really very special. I'll move an
Oh,
extra
this.
space or make a U-turn. But yeah, I mean, you do. Everybody gets those at the start, so you can use them. But ultimately, the game tends to come down to more uh, cutthroat positioning than pepper cultivation, at least in my experience.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's still an enjoyable game. All right, so here we are with the number 89, and then let's go to 88, which is a, they call it a family game, but oh, it's a cutthroat game to the max because it's number 88, Survive Escape from Atlantis. So
Okay.
if you tell me that it's a family game, then okay, I can see that. Uh, but how to say, so this is the one. This it's simple, but you basically you drown other people's meeples, and there are sharks and monsters. You move those around in order to block people, and it's it's as cutthroat as it could be, and it's so much fun. So I don't
Pretty
have
much.
this.
I mean, that's what it is, right? It's very in your face type of a game. Definitely not the game to play with people
Oh, no idea.
who have
Yeah.
a temper. Because I've seen people get very angry about this game.
Oh, really?
But
Anyway, so yeah, in this game, you just you put down the meeples. They have numbers beneath them, and like the at the bottom of the meeple, they have the numbers, and you need to kind of remember what the numbers are because you put them down, and then eventually it's just a memory game. And there are some tiles like a stone and the grass and sand, and the sand starts sinking first. So eventually there are less and less tiles going on, and you need to get your people into the water and on the boat and sail to the four different corners of the map in order to survive. But there are those monsters that kill everything, sharks that kill people but will not touch the boat, or the whales that will destroy your boat, and then but will not kill you. But the thing is that without the boat you're very slow in the water, and basically
that's
sharks can get
true.
you. And yeah, people try to stab each other in the back.
Sure.
That's
I
it.
mean, that's
And
what the game is. So it's a fine game. It's enjoyable. There's about 17 different versions of those meeples, depending on which version of the game you bought. They come
oh,
in,
really?
yeah, they just sort of evolved over time, and there's a few small expansions. I enjoy it. It's a fine game with the right group.
Yes. Yeah. If you are not against this kind of a cutthroat nature. Okay, let's get to number 87. My number 87 is a semi, like, not a semi cooperative game. It's one versus all game, but the one that I'm hesitant to play it one versus all. I mean, like it one versus several people. I like to play a two play game. the best. It's Catacombs, the third edition,
Ah,
basically the newer one.
sure.
The thing with the Catacombs is it's a flicking game where I feel like Overlord is overpowered in a sense, in my opinion.
Okay.
Uh, there's that balance issue in my opinion. But now, why I like to play two player? So one player will be the Overlord, and the other player will control all the heroes. If we played, let's say, a five-player game, then one player controls the overworld and can do all these various things and skeletons and stuff and blah blah blah. Flick several times. If you miss that, at least you will hit something else and etc. It has a lot of fun. And if we as other players cooperatively divide the heroes, then I do my one or two flickings and I'm done. And then I'm waiting, and it's not that much fun. So that's why I like to control several heroes so I can have more chances at flicking, because this is all about flicking. And you have some special abilities and special cards. How you flick, what you flick. There are some smaller and bigger discs, and some discs are like fireballs. Whatever you flick the fireball, and then you go with the melee. You flick yourself and try to kill the monsters and try to go through the different scenarios and dungeons, while the overlord tries to stop you by all means. That's it,
Sure.
and it's a lot of fun, and it's
Hmm.
frustrating at the same time.
Yes, it
So
is.
why is my number 87? It can be a hit or miss. If you miss, it can be a miss. If
Hmm.
you hit, it can be a hit. You know, it depends on your flicking experience a lot. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that I have enjoyed for a really long time, even back when it was in a less comely version. I
oh
it's
yes,
just a very fun game. I do agree that with it in a two-player head-to-head is the best way to play it, but I would play it with other accounts as well. As long as you don't have one person controlling a different number of heroes. So you could play it with three, you could play it with two, and you can play it with four. But if you're playing it with I guess the five is how it would be, right? Because you got to have one person for each hero. Then otherwise you have one person that's doing two, and that just feels weird.
no.
It's
If
it's
you
not.
if you play a three-player game, one is Overlord and two people control two heroes each.
Yeah, and
I'm
that's
fine
why I
with
said
that.
four is the number you don't do.
Oh yeah, okay. I can see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Four is weird. Yeah, I don't. But I mean, like, if you control all four heroes, it's much better
Hmm.
for you. So, um, anyway, let's get to the next number, which is number 86, a civilization game. I think the first one on the list, and a civilization card game. And I do really enjoy different civilization card games and the theme itself. And I enjoy card games and engine building games. And civilization theme suggests there will be engine building, the flow of history,
Oh,
because
just knew it was going to be through the ages.
yeah. So
Which is a card game with engine building and civilization.
a little bit too much for me. Uh, I can appreciate the 3D design. So I played Flow of History when it was in this kind of a initial state like that. And then the TMG made a more beautiful version with the like a deluxeified edition with these coins and things. And yeah, it was really cool just to have better components. But the game itself is basically you are grabbing those cards. You are reserving the cards with your money, and then somebody can outbid you and get the card from themselves. And then there's that split and share kind of a mechanism of the coin pool, where at some point, if you do the right action, you can get more coins out of it. There's that reserve or whatever the different coin pools are called. But you're trying to build those cards up, and you have this kind of a you have different ones. You have the warfare cards, you have the industry cards, we have the science cards, whatever they called. It's a little bit abstract, and you're collecting different symbols. And yeah, some cards have take that elements, especially the warfare cards, and then you're trying to get the people, the famous is how do you call them? The uh, the famous people
Famous
from
people in history.
in history. Yeah, there was another word.
Okay.
I don't remember. Anyway, and the
Historical figures. I don't know.
historical figures. Thank you. Yeah, I want to say historical
Okay.
figures and different wonders that give you some abilities, etc. But eventually, you're trying to get to the points, and there are symbols give you points eventually, and there's that particular symbol, I think a culture or something like that, which gives you straight points, and then everything else gives you 1 point per every two symbols, and you're just building up these rows of cards. The cool thing about that one is that, let's say you have a red card in front of you. If you buy another red card, uh, it goes on top of the previous one. So the previous one, whichever ability or icons it had, are gone now, and there's a new red card, the new red ability that you have. But there are some bottom symbols that are still available to you. So you kind of a build up. You kind of a lose something, but you build up as well. So, and I suggest you always think about the military. Otherwise, people start attacking you, and you you'll lose. You lose. Anyway, the flow of history is very simple card game civilization game. So check it out.
Yeah, I might need to get this one out again. It's been a really long time since I played it. I don't know that I was super enamored with it when I tried it, but I
Hmm.
might give this one another try.
Okay.
The box is too small. I remember that.
By the way, no, for I mean the initial one, yes. The Team G1,
It's
it's
also
totally
too
fine.
small. Oh,
No, it's totally
okay.
fine. It's just the card. It's just cards and coins. That's it. You
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have. I mean, like this is a perfect box for me, in my opinion, because otherwise
Okay.
it would be just thin air. Um, yeah. Let's get to number 85. My number 85 is a game that I don't remember if you've played it or you didn't appreciate that much, but this one has a mechanism that is very similar to the one that we played in Gutenberg, the new game
Okay.
Gutenberg, with these the action selection mechanism. And I'm talking
Okay.
about Age of Thieves here.
Oh, no, I've never played this one.
Yeah, so Age of Thieves, the base thing, like in Gutenberg, you have these cubes, and you put them on different actions. So you wanna prioritize one action so you can go first and etc. In Age of Thieves, it's basically the same. There's also the NPC, the guards that going, and they need to be prioritized as well. But they have this thing printed on them already, so you know that the guards go if they're like number four, strength, then they go. And you have the cards in front of you, and you bid on them with your cubes, and you can get more cubes eventually. And it's like how you prioritize. So if I put 7 cubes on that card, most likely I will be the first one to activate this card and do this action. And everybody has similar cards, similar actions, and then you have some special cards, and it's all about you go through those different paths, trying to get to the jewel, and then you will activate guards, and then all the exits but one will be closed, and you need to rush towards the exit and escape. But people can grab the jewel from you, etc. And if people escape and no jewel has been taken out from the city, then you just count whatever smaller things you have collected. That you can collect small things on the way as well, smaller jewels. Then you could just count points. And everybody has their own kind of a character and special ability. And you can see there are those special cards like smoke grenade, and these are just grenades. But you know, these are really cool abilities, and they feel very thematic. It's like if you played the video game called Thief, and it reminds me of that kind of like Assassin's Creed, that you go to different spots and you hide. This kind of a stealth going on, and then you hide in the tunnels, etc. At the same time, there's that Thief video game element going on. It's a classic if people have played in the past. So
Okay.
you are one of those thieves that has the special ability as well. It's just a fun experience. I do have an expect. I don't have the base game because a long time ago there was one person who enjoyed this game immersively when we played, and we're like, okay, so I gave it to them as a gift
Okay.
because they just love this game. And eventually bought the expansion that I never gave them. So I do have expansion. And now I have this game, and I want to have this game for myself as well.
Okay.
So I do have expansion, but I don't have the base game. Yeah, it's simple. It's just you know I like it. So it's
I
nothing too
have
difficult.
no comment about it. This is one of those games that's. I think you might be the only person who's played it.
It was in Essen. I think I got it as a or maybe I bought it or I got it as a review copy or something like that. Something like that. That's why I tried it out. I
Okay.
just I was enamored with the theme itself. I like this kind of a theme going on here. Anyway, Age of Thieves, my number 85. Let's get to number 84. My number 84 is another dice game. Very simple one. Uh, Almost every time it's a hit, but it can be a miss as well. And that's King of Tokyo. It's also
Okay.
the thing is that King of Tokyo is as you can see 11 years old, and there's the new Dark Edition, whatever. There's King of New York, which is pumped up version, but King of Tokyo is still a better game overall, I think. Uh, but
Sure. Well,
it's
I disagree with that, but
maybe.
I understand. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can go with one or another. It depends on your taste. So let's say that. And you control the different monsters, and if you get the expansions, the monsters have some kind of a special abilities. But if you get certain amount of hearts, then in City, then you get to grab a card from your own personalized deck, and it has your own kind of a personalized ability. I felt like I felt like it could have been done better in a sense that from the start, I have some kind of a cool ability. That's it. Just give
Yeah.
me one great ability at the start. Everybody has the same. We're all overpowered in a sense, but kind of evenly powered. So it could have been a better choice. Whatever. It's a Yahtzee game. You roll the
I
dice.
mean, you can just do that, right?
Uh,
You can just let everybody pick one power and start.
no, it's not in the spirit of the rules in the game. So it's
Okay.
not. No, but I mean, like it's like there are
Hand me
several
your rule book.
cards.
I can fix it for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so basically, you have these different monsters, and you go into Tokyo to collect the points. And then, if you're in Tokyo, everybody who is outside of that Tokyo punches you, and if you're inside, you punch everybody else outside, etc. And you roll the dice Yahtzee mechanism, roll 3 times, keep or roll. And if you get the numbers, certain amount of numbers, you get that many points. If you get the the hands, then you attack. If you get the energy, then you can use that energy in order to buy the cool cards. And the cards are cool. They're sometimes one time use. They give you maybe some extra energy or whatever else, or they can give you a special ability. And with the expansions, there are more special abilities like costumes and masks or whatever. I don't remember exactly, or extra die, extra head. It's called, but it's an extra die kind of thing. So yeah, so basically, as you progress through the game, through this very simple Yahtzee mechanism, you build yourself up with these cards and become even more powerful. And it's till the last man standing or till somebody collects, I think, was it 20?
20
Remember
points.
exactly?
Yeah.
20 points,
Hmm.
yeah. If somebody collects 20 points, they win the game instantly. That's it. Still an enjoyable game for me. Number 84.
Yeah. I mean, this is one I haven't played for a while, although I seem to keep buying new versions of it. I bought the Dark Edition, which is the same as the regular one with different artwork. I just ordered this big box that apparently will hold all of the monsters or something.
Mm.
It's a fine game. It's not bad at all. It can go wrong though, right? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the ideal player count is, but it's possible if the dice are not cooperating just to have it drag on a little bit too long. I mean, if the game lasts more than about 20 minutes, it's probably too long for this style of game.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful with that, but it's a fine game that works well. When it works well, it works really well.
Yeah. I think the ideal number of players is four for me. Five, I don't like it.
Hmm.
Three might be a little bit too low of a number. I don't know, like I think four is this kind of a yeah, the sweet spot for me. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let's get to number 83. Number 83 is a game that will that punishes you with each turn, with each movement, punishes you with everything it has to offer. And that's Robinson
Okay.
Crusoe Adventures on
Oh,
the Cursed
okay.
Island. So this game just slaps you around. It's um, it's like if you win in your first game during your first game, then you're doing something wrong. Then you probably missed a rule or two. I'm sorry. So yeah, so this is a cooperative game. You survive. You try to survive on the island through the scenarios. Let's say there are different scenarios. You build a fire, or you are on a cannibal island, or whatever else, and you build the different items. You explore the island. You have those workers, and you can go somewhere together to kind of do this action without consequences, or go alone and do the action with the consequences. It has this kind of a how do you call it? Not the crossroads. It's in another game. This crossroads mechanism, but it has this similar vibe to it that you pull out the event card and it says something, and we'll like to read it. So there are two parts: the upper part and bottom part. If it comes up later on, the bottom part will activate. But right now, the first part will activate. So what we do usually, we cover the bottom part, so we don't know what will happen.
Okay.
Mechanically, it doesn't tell you the need to cover that, but it's more interesting that way. So you don't know what, like, oh, I found a puma, and will it hunt me down later on or not? I don't know, but I anticipate it now. Uh, so this is that,
Sure.
and it's a harsh game. It's just a lot of stuff going on,
Yeah.
and you
So
will lose
look,
more
I
than
like
once.
this game. I like this game a lot, right? In fact, I think I have purchased all three versions of it. The third version hasn't arrived yet. It's a game that it doesn't quite feel like anything else, but there are too many rules in the game. It's a game
Yes,
that if you have not played it, I mean, essentially each time you play it, you kind of have to relearn it from the beginning, and that is a little problematic. And there's a lot of rules, and there's a lot of things you can miss and do wrong. So you have to be really careful with it. I do enjoy it. I kind of wish there were an app to run all those cards. And I know that was tried with the Mars version, but it was kind of a
failed.
crappy app. Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. The system, it kind of feels like the current state of Crossroads. Like if you played Forgotten Waters, where you'll do something and then it will remember that this has occurred and throw something out. So there's definitely technology that can handle this now. Um,
Hmm.
but I just wish there were a fewer rules so that you could remember it between games. Because I'm assuming that if you were to get it out tomorrow, you would have to start at page one and read the rules just like I would.
Yes, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a ton of rules, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest downside of the game. But if you get through that, the experience of this game is enormous.
It's quite
That's why
enjoyable. I
that's why
agree.
that's why it's low on my list, lower on
Mm-hmm.
my list. So
Well, I need to stop buying versions of it. Is probably what the moral of the story is. But
yes, yeah. Anyway, so let's get to number 82. My number 82 is another game where you are on an island, and it's very simple. It uses the dice mechanism, which I like, but overall, it sounds like nothing special, but maybe it's simplicity. It's what I like. It's Rise of Tribes. So in Rise of Tribes, you have this dice that has this kind of a sun side and the lunar side, and you can do particular action like it can be a strong action or it can be not so strong of an action. and then you explore the island. You try to collect the resources from the different spots, so you can build the villages. So you can basically start generating villages and start generating points. You can get some points from other means as well. And then if you get to a certain amount of points, was it I think 15, then you win the game.
Right.
And you get these kind of cards that are like technology kind of a thing, and then you can go with the point cards as well to get more points, etc. It's I think this one is a prototype or something, maybe. So there are, I don't remember exactly, but there's a fancier version of that. But overall, it's just a simple, the fighting mechanism. If there are a certain amount of people on a particular spot, then the battle is triggered. But the battle is very simple. So you pick one warrior from each person, and then you just pull them out until only one color is left on that tile. That's it.
Yeah.
As simple as it can get. And as you can see, these dice, so it can be a strong move, or it can be if it has two moon side symbols at least, then it's a a weak move that you can do, etc. And then you pull out the dice, and then you slide them back in from the other side. Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I like
Or
the
the events.
game too. Um, I don't know. It has not worked well even one time that I've tried it with somebody else. It's one of those games where I play it and I start to think, am I the only person who likes this game? I don't know what it is. I can't say something's missing. Maybe it's that the actions you're doing aren't very exciting.
That's
You
simple.
know,
Yes.
and that might be the problem. Is it just sort
Hmm.
of feels like what you're doing isn't very interesting. I enjoy the game. I enjoy its mechanisms. I just am not sure that there's anything that's particularly exciting or a particular moment of sort of triumph in the game, because it just kind of feels like you're moving stuff around and knocking out equal numbers of your opponent. I do not dislike the game. It's one that I constantly seem to come back to, but I just don't know that I've ever had it work well with anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Okay. So this is Rise of Tribes. Let's get to number 81. My number 81 is another beautiful game, well produced, and has a theatrical theme and anthropomorphic animals that's called Histrio.
This is
And
another one that I think you're the only person who's played it.
not really. But the thing is, why I like Histrio. So the main mechanism, as you can see, is those different cards and the ship. So basically, you choose a location where you're going. If several people go there, you can get some consolidation prize, but you will not get the cards themselves. They're discarded. So you're trying to go somewhere where nobody else will go. But on the other hand, if you see a very juicy row of cards or column of cards, they're like, okay, if only one person goes there, they get all of these cards. I will not allow them, And then they start thinking like, okay, if I go there, I'm sure somebody will try to block me, so I'll go somewhere else. Except, this kind of a mind game going on. That's what I like about this simultaneous action selection mechanism. And so there's the mood of the king. So you try to collect certain cards in order to influence the mood of the king, and then get points, etc. You have some special ability cards. Yeah, the main thing is all about choosing where to go and how to block others and how to get the most out of it. I really like it, the mechanism,
Okay.
and there
Yeah,
are
I've
some
never played
things
this
as well.
game, so
Hmm. You should try it out. It's fun. It's simple and it's fun.
okay, I'll believe you.
Let's get to number 80. My number 80 is a very simple game. You can just use a pack of cards to play this game. You don't need to have the original copy of the game. And it's a loud game. It can be a very loud game because I remember, like, for a longer period of time, I didn't want to play this game because I remember being at the camp and playing a Series Zero game and somebody shouting. And I looked at and they were playing number 80 Skull.
Oh. Okay.
And I was like, okay, I hate you guys and hate this game now because I haven't played it, but it was so
Fair.
loud. No, but eventually, so I was introduced to this game and I really enjoyed it. It's extremely simple. It's cool looking. Component wise, terrible production. The discs wear off very easily, and the problem is they shouldn't, because the thing is, you what you do in this game, uh, you bid the discs. You have three flowers of your color and one skull, and you bid those discs. And during your turn, you either bid another disc, or you say, "I'm gonna flip over particular number of flowers. I'm gonna flip over four flowers." And then the bidding round starts on how much everybody wants to flip the flowers over. And then another person says, "I'm gonna flip the five," and everybody else passes. Okay, so now they need to flip the five flowers. First of all, they always have to flip all of their discs first. And if they were bluffing and they have the skull, they bust, and they lose one of the tiles. Well, one of the tiles, but the discs,
The
etc. So
coasters. Hmm.
the coasters, sorry, yeah. And it's so simple, and how you bluff about this thing, and if you put the skull down or not. So after you flip over all of yours, if you're still fine, you start flipping over the other players' discs or coasters, one by one, however you choose in whatever order. And this is really cool. At some point, you go crazy, like, I'm gonna flip over 8 flowers. And if you do, and nobody put the skull down, this moment is a blast. It's like, I knew it, like, because, like, and at some point, like, if you get kind of burned by one particular person who always puts a skull down there, and this particular moment he will not put the skull down there, like, "Oh, I don't trust you anymore. I will not flip any of your tiles over or coasters over," but he's fine now. Or if you randomly lose one of the coasters, it might be a skull, and some other people might not know it. So, like, okay, so does he still have the skull? He threw away one coaster. Was it a
Hmm.
rose, or was the skull? So yeah, it's
Okay.
it's very simple, very fun bluffing game.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
it's an enjoyable game. I mean, I don't know that it's my favorite in this particular genre, but I enjoy it. I'll play it. It's certainly easy to get into. The rules are light.
yeah, okay, let's go to number 79. Number 79, another smaller game, uh, one of the few roll and write games in my collection. It seems like there are so many roll and write games, and there are some very famous and cool ones, and I've tried a bunch, but I always return to this particular one. I don't know why. Maybe it just the sweet spot for me. That's Dice Stars, and it has the mini expansion as well, with the planets, which is cool. I like that, but it's extremely simple. So it's not a highly regarded game, but in my opinion, it's great. I love it. It's because, so
You do.
basically you have this kind of a row and column, and you roll the dice in the center, and it's a pool of dice, and you need to either choose one color or a number. And if you choose a color or number, you need to take all of the dice of that number or all the dice of that color. And during the beginning of the round, you always choose, like, you have the dice are in the bag, and you say, "I'm going to pull out one, two, or three dice." And if you need to get only two orange dice, and let's say there's one orange dice in the center already, and, like, okay, so I'm not gonna pull all three dice out, because but I need orange, so maybe I'll pull two dice, because otherwise I might not get orange at all. It's like you count those chances, a little bit of that not take that push your luck element going on.
Sure.
And then you take the dice, you draft the dice, and you put out those numbers, trying to fill the spaces in a best way possible that you can. And you can get those stars, which are like X's here, and if you get all of them X's done in that particular row, then you will double the points for that row. And if you will fail in that, you will get 0 points for that row automatically. That's it. Count the points. Has the most is the winner. I just like the simplicity of it. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine game. I think, you really like the game. I don't know that it stands out in a fairly crowded field for me, but it's enjoyable.
I can see that, but maybe I played it in a time where there weren't that many that I tried that many, and it kind of was is
Sure.
near and dear to my heart. So whatever else I play,
Yeah,
I
hey, nothing
feel
wrong with
like
that.
most roll and writes right now are trying to overcomplicate things without a reason. So I'm like,
Mm.
okay, just make a regular game then. Don't make it roll and write. It's not like you need to, but they say they need to. So whatever.
Sure.
Let's get to number 78, a bigger game now,
Okay.
and there will be another game similar to that one in a sense that will be much higher on the list, but this one is number 78, Russian Railroads.
Ooh.
Yes. So Russian
You
Railroads.
don't mean Ultimate Railroads, right?
No, I've never played the German or any other version. I played only this vanilla version, the Russian Railroads version.
Okay.
Uh, but the thing about this game is this is a worker placement game, and you are yeah, you're going to different spots and trying to get the different resources to build the tracks. And while you're building the tracks, you get the different bonuses out of them. You're trying to get a ton of points, 500,
Mm-hmm.
600, 1,000 points, whatever. You,
1,000 might be too many,
yeah,
but
and then you have those engines that allow you to build tracks further, or score tracks further on. It's all about building up, and then you have this purple track going down there, and you hire engineers as well. It's cool. Some worker spots need one worker, some of them need two workers, and uh, does not. I don't know how to describe this game in any other way than just it's a game with huge amount of points in the end of the game.
yeah.
If there is a runaway leader, it might be a problem. If somebody fails to get, like, if you start wrong and if you fail to get points, you will fall behind.
Oh,
You
yes,
know,
absolutely.
because I had one game where I think they played it for the first time, and it's I tried not to crush other people who have not played the game before, but it just I cannot stop myself from doing the stuff. Uh, no, doing the
Sure.
stuff in the right way. Yeah, that's how it is. That's what this game is all about. That trying to maximize your positions, and yeah, a truly uh, great point. Not it's not a point salad game, but it's a huge end points game. Let's say I would
Yeah,
like
it's a game of specialization.
yeah, yeah, because the point salad games for me are the ones where I go here, I get a point from here. I go here, I get a point from here. This one is just you build up, and then you get a huge amount of points at the end of the round, and
Sure.
then you build
Yep.
up, and then you get even more. It's not a point salad in a sense.
Hmm.
Anyway, and I like this worker placement. Very simple one.
Yeah, I mean, I love this game. It's a game of making the most of what's available. There's
Yeah,
bonuses that come out every game. With some of the expansions, there are variable. The different workers that are going to come out are going to be different each game. The various different modes of play, right? There's the German edition, there's the American edition, there's the brand new Asian edition, which I haven't even tried yet. This is a game that when I get in, I don't play it all the time, but I sometimes get a hankering for it, and then I'll just play it, several days in a row because it's just very enjoyable to try and figure out what the best thing for you to do in any given set of circumstances is. It's not, I mean, rules wise, there's not a whole lot there. It's just, you know, place your worker and advance something, but it's a very satisfying experience for me.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah, I enjoy it as well. That's why it's on my top 100. So, my number 77 is, I think the other game is not on my list. If it is, then okay. But I think I chose only one out of out of the two because I do compare them. I think they are similar. But I chose that one because it's, in a sense, it's simpler kind of to get into, and that's 77 Five Tribes.
Okay.
The one I compare it to is Yamatai. Yamatai for me is a
Hmm.
reverse Five Tribes, kind of a, in a sense that in Five Tribes you're trying to kind of empty the board. In Yamatai you are building up the board, but they have very similar vibes and also same designers, so uh, that's why.
Okay.
And Five Tribes is all about, collecting meeples, and then this Mancala mechanic. You collect meeples from one spot and then you drop them as you go. And you basically trying to, it's not all about just, getting all the meeples and then dropping them and then eventually picking the meeples up for yourself and then using them for whatever reason or scoring them. It's also about where you land as the last tile, because it can give
Hmm.
you a right bonus. So you're trying to figure out, okay, so I pick the meeples from here. How do I get to that particular tile with that particular power? And then you get the genies, which are a special abilities, which will basically make it all easier for you. I like it two player the most because I feel like with two players I have more control, and you both have two rounds, but like or two kind of a turns per round, and there's that bidding mechanism where you can get two turns in a row, or you can get one turn in between, or whatever else, like the different combinations. So it becomes more strategic, and then you collect all the different goods, etc., and so on. So yeah, I really enjoy Five Tribes.
Yeah, I really enjoy Five Tribes too. It's one that works really well with a lot of different people. It's very simple and very satisfying. I'll always play it with the first expansion. The second big
Hmm.
expansion, I don't know that I've ever even played it with. It
I'm not
there's
playing the
this,
second expansion now.
but the first one is really quite good, and adds a little bit extra to it. It's a very satisfying game.
Yeah, it's a Six Tribes. That's what it should have been called. Anyway,
Okay.
I think Six Tribes is not as striking as Five Tribes. I don't know why. Just it's just
Maybe it's
five.
because of the X.
Maybe, yeah. So the last one for today, number 76, is here for a nostalgic reason. And if I will be able to play it again, I I might do that because
Okay.
I really enjoyed my experience with this when I played it a ton, and that's Mice and Mystics.
Okay.
The mice, the strength of Mice and Mystics. So it's, in a sense, it's a simple RPG, like kind of a game. It's not RPG like, but it's
Sure.
like the dungeon crawler, very
Right.
simple one. There's not much going on in sense of mechanisms, but it has a ton of rules, and some rules are a bit harsh. So I remember we house ruled a little bit of that, made it like a little bit easier, so we could enjoy the story more. The strengths of this game is all of that, uh, story, the different elements, the different, how you say, it's the whole experience, the whole world that you're in. It's so cool, so different from your usual fantasy, that it created stories for us, and
Sure.
how the mice in this world interact with that particular world. So they are human beings who were turned into mice in order to escape the prison from the evil queen, and then there are the evil queen sends the cockroaches and their minions,
Sure.
and rats, etc., to fight the mice. And they are real people who were turned into mice, and that's and how they use the environment. The environment itself is still a real environment. That like the table, need to jump on the table. They use the spoon for that, whatever etc. And there's a huge cat. You need to fight the cat, and there's a like a paw token that goes and slaps you. There's not a huge cat on the table because it's the cat is too big. It's real size. It's only her paws who interact with the mice. It's all about the story. I just really like this whole experience. There are some upgraded pieces, etc. But whatever. Each character feels like it's your character. Each character feels like, oh, I'm Ness, or I was Collins. I was the prince. I like to play him, and I just felt like this is my guy. So this is my character. I feel invested. I feel like I just want to keep playing that particular character. I feel for him in this world. It sounds strange, but it's one of my first experience of a story game, and I don't think I've ever been. Okay, there is one other game or maybe two games, but it's very rare case where I feel so invested in the theme that I feel for the characters in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I this is a game that it was back in the early days of Plaid Hat, and I was really rooting for them because they made some games I really liked. This is one that I really enjoyed. I played it only ever with adults. I've never played it with children, but I could see if I had children that this would
Me
be
too.
even better. But I mean, the story is interesting. The game mechanisms are pretty simple. It can be frustrating if you get 90% of the way through a chapter and then lose, and you're supposed to replay it, but nobody really will know if you just kind of go on to the next one anyway. Uh,
Yeah, we house ruling.
because
Yeah, that's what I did.
it's
The
more
story.
about experiencing the story than playing the game. But I've had a good time with it. I've played through the first sort of core scenario all the way. I played
Mm-hmm.
through the Glorm expansion, and I don't know that
Mm.
I've ever touched the Downwood Tales.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's still more.
Oh, there's still more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a great nostalgia for me. But if I will be able to play it again right now, I would. I like if like let's say a whole evening experience. Just go through the
Yeah,
different scenarios, the different stories. That might be
sure.
fun.
It might be.
So that's it for today. And next time we
Okay.
go 75 through 51, and there will be more cool games we can talk about.
All right.
Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you another time.
Sounds good. Bye.
Maybe even next week.
Oh, really?
Um, I will try not to stretch this top 100 into
Into
too
4
many
months?
weeks. Yeah, into
Sounds
four
like a good
months.
idea.
Yeah, true that. Anyway, bye bye.
Bye.